Today I'm going to answer the question of whether you should have your weak hand or your strong hand on the record when scratching once and for all. Welcome to my channel where I like to talk about DJing and tech related stuff. If you're into that kind of thing, start now by subscribing and clicking that notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. So if you want the quick and easy answer, what I will say is there's plenty of DJs who do it both ways. There's no real correct answer or incorrect answer, but I'm going to make a case today that you should actually have your strong hand on the record. If that's all you wanted to know, please just drop a like and be off with you. But if you want to nerd out a bit and talk about the reasons why I think this, stick around. So when you first start scratching, you may not realise that it is essentially just a musical instrument, and you do have to practice it as much as any other instrument to get good at it. So obviously you want to make sure that you start scratching in the correct way for you. So what I'm showing you on the screen right now are from studioscratches.com, and I think DJ Shorty does a really good job of summarising the pros and cons of each way. Basically what she says is where you put your strong hand is where you're going to find it easier, and where your weak hand is, you're going to struggle a bit more, which makes perfect sense, right? She also concludes that there's no correct or incorrect way, and she's not wrong. As I mentioned before, there's plenty of DJs who are good both ways. I myself, however, am a DJ who scratches strong hand on the crossfader, and I kind of wished I'd learned the other way around, to be honest. Since being a beginner, I've realised more and more how important the record hand is, and it's kind of too late for me now to go back and switch. I've been scratching for like 13 years. It's going to be really difficult for me to catch up with the other way around. I found this video of D-Cells talking about it, who in my opinion is the greatest scratcher of all time, so obviously I'm going to side with what he says, and this is how he puts it.
I get asked a lot about record control. What is more important, the fader hand or the record hand? And in my opinion, the record hand, because that's your voice, that's where your sound is coming from. The record control is everything, because that's how you're able to talk, to have lyricism in your scratching. And to me, that's the goal I think all of us should strive for. You know what I mean? When you scratch, you want to approach it like you're giving a speech. You know what I mean? You want to pace yourself. You want to give punctuation, pauses, and you want it to build up, ramp up. It's almost like telling a joke. You know what I mean? You have a punchline, but it builds up to that. So this all comes down to record control. It's everything. And if you can work towards mastering that, you're gonna notice that you're gonna have so much to offer when you scratch.
So that's what D-Cells has to say in it. I want to make it clear that I thought this before I actually found this clip. I'm not just some kind of simp who loves D-Cells that much that I would change my opinion on the matter, but I do actually agree with him. I've spoken to a number of different DJs regarding this, and one DJ who had a really cool point about it is Dejaculate from Ireland. He's a really sick DJ, and the way he put it was that the record is actually analog. When you go from slow to fast, there's an infinite number of different, I guess, values that it could be at. It could be super slow or super fast, and you can really find some kind of finesse by going between those things. On the crossfader, on the other hand, you've literally just got on and off, and it's binary essentially. It's just simple. So which would you rather have your strong hand on? The one which is complex or the one which is simple? I think it really makes sense that you're really expressing yourself with the record hand, and it makes sense to have your stronger hand on that record. So that's really the main point of the video. I could just leave it at that, but I'm going to dig a little bit deeper because I'm a nerd and I love talking about this kind of stuff. When you first start scratching, you might think that turntables are a mirror image of each other, but when you really think about it, they're not. This is what they look like, and if I were to mirror them, this is what they would look like. As you can see, there are slight differences, and this could have different potential effects on your scratching. Body anatomy and mechanics actually plays a really big part in the sound that musicians make. Turntablists don't tend to talk in these terms too often, but it definitely affects what we're doing. Check this video by Two Set Violin and how they're talking about Ben Shapiro's playing.
You can see when it shifts up, there was tension, and the speed caused a jolt, which causes bow to kind of, the sound wasn't consistent.
Yeah.
The shift and the bow change wasn't smooth. The shift needed to be less tense, and timing, the coordination of it, so it works.
So in that example, they're talking about tension within the arm, but if you really follow the thinking through, it makes sense that if you're scratching this way, you're going to get a different sound than someone who's scratching this way. The differences are very slight, but they are definitely there. Whenever I scratch with my right hand on the record, I find it slightly easier to like flick the record, and I think my arm pivots with the natural movement of the turntable a bit easier. I can also get my thumb involved, things like that. And when I'm scratching on the left hand, it's just very different. I always think it makes left-handed scratches sound slightly more sharp and aggressive, and I think it means right-handed people tend to be a bit more wavy and get a little bit more flicks within their cuts. You may not agree with me, it's all complete hearsay, but here are a few examples of different DJs and see if you can hear what I'm talking about. So do you agree with me or not? I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to find out from these guys if they had their strong hand or their weak hand on the record, and how that might affect everything which is going on. So I'm definitely rambling on a bit now, but while we're looking at other DJs, I think it'd be silly to not look at some DJs who are good with both hands. So I know Eprom, not sure. He's better than most DJs are with both of his hands. Beat jugglers and battle DJs tend to also be good at scratching on both sides. Look at DJ Craze. And some DJs even like to have both turntables on one side so that they've always got their strong hand on the record, potentially. Obviously it makes things like juggling and mixing slightly different, and if you're going to be DJing with other DJs, you're going to have to move the equipment a lot, but there's people who do that, so if you're a beginner and you're still trying to figure things out, you could try that and see if it suits you. So what can we conclude from this video? I don't know, I've brought up a lot of different things and it's all a bit up in the air, but I suppose it's natural to question whether or not you're doing it right or wrong when you first start. I know I did that, and I'm sure that plenty of other DJs do. Just remember that there's DJs who are good either way, and you can kind of get through whatever barriers you're feeling right now, and there's essentially no replacement for practice. You know, practice beats all. It's worth thinking about what kind of DJ you want to be. If you want to be a battle DJ, you know, you might want to develop both sides more than if you want to be a specialist scratcher. I think what D-Style says should not be ignored. He is, in my opinion, the best scratcher ever, and if he says you should put your strong hand on the record, like, you should probably do it, to be honest. But yeah, I've always felt like slightly limited by what I can do with my left hand on the record. It's just like there's just a peak level which I can reach because it's my weak hand, and it's got to be as good as my right hand now. But I think if my right hand had been developed as much as my left hand, that would be now up here, and you know, it feels wrong. It feels like backwards when I'm trying to do my crossfader cuts on with my left hand. But this short amount of time that I have spent practicing that, I have actually managed to get this to a decent level. So I think, if I'd spent 13 years practicing that way, what level could I be at now? So yeah, that's it. Like normal, I've rabbited on way too much about very little. It's just the most niche thing that I've ever spoken about. Hopefully someone's found this useful. If you have, please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. And see you on the next one. Bye.